Good day, I am Cherry Lange, and for today I'll discuss to you about the story written by J.D. Salinger, The Catcher in the Rye. The Catcher in the Rye is set around the 1950s and is narrated by a young man named Holden Caulfield. Holden is not specific about his location while he's telling the story, but he makes it clear that he is undergoing treatment in a mental hospital or sanatorium. The events he narrates take place in a few days between the end of the school fall term and Christmas, when Holden is 16 years old. Holden's story begins on a Saturday following the end of classes at Pensay Prep School in the Hagerstown, Pennsylvania. Pensay is Holden's fourth school. He has already failed out of three others. At Pensay, he has failed four out of five of his classes and has received notice that he is being expelled. But he is not scheduled to return home to Manhattan until Wednesday. He visits his elderly history teacher, Spencer, to say goodbye. But when Spencer tries to reprimand him for his poor academic performance, Holden becomes annoyed. Back in the dormitory, Holden is further irritated by his unhygienic neighbor, Ackley, and by his own roommate, Stradlater. Stradlater spends the evening on a date with Jane Gallagher, a girl whom Holden used to date when and whom he still admires. During the course of the evening, Holden grows increasingly nervous about Stradlater's taking Jane out, and when Stradlater returns, Holden questions him insistently about whether he tried to have with her, and Stradlater teases Holden, who flies into a rage and attacks Stradlater. Stradlater pins Holden down and bloodies his nose. Holden decides that he's had enough of Pensay and will go to Manhattan 3 days early, stay in a hotel, and not tell his parents that he is back. So, the story has identity because the protagonist is struggling to find their place in the world and to establish a sense of self identity. And it also has growth and change because the protagonist undergoes significant personal growth and change as they confront and overcome challenges and obstacles. Also, it has independence because the protagonist becomes increasingly independent and self reliant, often breaking away from the influence of parents, authority figures, or societal expectations. Also, it has loss of innocence, because the protagonist experience a loss of innocence and must confront the harsh realities of the world around them. It also has self-discovery because the protagonist engages in self-discovery and reflection, often through introspection or relationships with other characters. And it has coming to terms with mortality because or the protagonist grapples with the inevitability of mortality and learns to accept the fragility and impermanence of life. It also has social and cultural conflict because the protagonist must navigate social and cultural conflicts, often related to issues of race, class, gender, or sexuality. Also, it has themes of nostalgia. Coming of age stories often include themes of nostalgia as the protagonist looks back on childhood experiences and memories. And lastly, it has Bill Dung's romance structure. Why? Because coming of age stories often follow a Bill Dung's romance structure, which involves the protagonist's journey towards self discovery and personal growth. And that would be all. Thank you.